Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, a show about streaming technology. Today, you are being hosted by me, Matt, and I am. This is episode 291, recorded on June 15th, 2022, and I am joined by Michael Aston.
Hello.
And,
Hello, everyone.
and Jimmy Dremel. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. We normally have Clyde, but his therapy session showed up, but he's not here. So I guess we could do the meeting anyways. I guess it means we could talk about him more. Yeah,
We could.
okay.
It is an opportunity for that.
So this allows us to, maybe air out our grievances against him. Maybe, without him on the show, it's easier to let us, to get these things off our chests. Like, I totally have beard envy. Absolutely. I just do. It's bad.
Yeah. I kind of wish I could grow my hair that long.
I wish I had the confidence to be really into pink like he is. I don't have that confidence. Yeah. And, I wish I just didn't care as much as he doesn't care. Those are all mostly true, I gotta say. But that's all right. Hope you guys have had a good week so far. I've been, the last week of school was last week. Yay, school is over. Summer has begun. And we are working very hard to get ourselves to... getting things ready for the summer. Last year, if you remember, we were doing a bunch of carpeting in half the school district. This year, it's the other half of the district gets new carpeting. Yay! So the good news is I don't have to move out of my server room in my tech office this year, so it's not going to be quite as big a deal. So I'm going to survive this week. I'm pretty certain.
Cool.
All right. Anything else?
Nope. Actually, it was a pretty good week for me. Didn't have to work the whole weekend long. And so, yeah, not too bad.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah. I had COVID last week, but I'm back and don't have it anymore.
Well,
that's better than last week then, right?
That's right.
I'm glad you're back, and I'm sorry you got it. Sucks, but I'm glad you're back.
Well, I should be good for, maybe another 6 to 12 months.
Right. You should be fairly immune now, which is good. That's very good.
Yep.
Question will be, will you get the second booster now that you've had it?
Are they talking about a second booster?
I didn't get the first booster. I'm done with that whole vaccine thing. Natural immunity all the way, baby.
Well, hopefully with the how it has looked, these the horrible huge waves have gone away, and this will become a more normal thing for the world, and we can move on. That's what I'm hoping for too. So
yeah, my work had a conference. We do like regional conferences every year, and they had one in San Francisco. And the San Francisco conference kind of became a super spreader. About a third of the people that went ended up with COVID. So it's there were a lot of people sick for the last few weeks. But, most people at my work are boosted and everything. They still got it. They all still felt like they had the flu, mild, not too bad. I only talked to one person that sounded like they didn't get very sick, but their wife got pretty sick, but not like hospital level, just like worse flu that she'd had in her life type sick. And so I'd say all things said and done, seem to be looking at something that's probably going to be a seasonal thing for the rest of eternity. And you just get it or you won't. And if you do, you'll be fine after a week.
Yep, it'll be fine. Well,
So,
we shall survive. Things shall move on. We are still dealing with all the flus from 100 years ago, so it's just all a big
yep.
continuous thing from that. So
Yeah, and for me, I will get the second booster probably.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I'll probably go there, and then once I get that, I'll say, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?"
well,
Yeah,
yes.
I feel like once I feel like they've actually like published solid papers and research about the vaccines, I might start thinking about getting them, but they're just all grandfathered in and they're not publishing the results, which is a bit annoying to me. Once I start to see those, then I'll start to consider, because like I said, as far as I've not seen anybody that resisted the virus after getting boosted better than people that didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously anecdotal,
Right.
but with the people that I've interacted with, so many people that got boosted got sick just as bad as anybody else, and it just doesn't seem to make that much difference.
I believe there is studies out there, and I believe the studies do say it helps the elderly a lot more than it helps everybody else. The older you are, the more you should get it. It also says that that the people who have the best immunity are those who both had the booster, the shots boosters, and got sick. If you got all three of those, you're the most immune. So it.
The study I want to see, does the mask really help?
So basically there's going to be a lot more people coming back with different opinions on that. My understanding is that the masks helped a little, not as much as you might hunt. It does basically reduce the how far it can spread from your body when you are. But if you're in a room with somebody, you're just reducing your viral load, which is important too. But yeah, if you're going to be sharing a room with somebody, you're sharing. So
only thing I got to say, I think if we go back to mandated mask again, then I'm definitely going to buy a Darth Vader mask.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. The problem with all of the studies that you're talking about, Matt, is that those are just general analytics assessment, right? They're not true. Actual research. They're not double-blind studies.
Probably true.
Where you are controlling with the control group, and so it's everything you look at now. You look at in a very cloudy situation, because the people, there's selection bias. The people that got the booster were likely to be or at least to some extent, more at risk people. The healthier people that chose not to get it select themselves into a different category. And so there's a lot of variables that end up coming into play. And that's why I'm not happy with the fact that they still haven't done any legitimate research beyond those initial pre-release trials that were fairly limited relative to previous vaccinations.
I am sure those studies that are out there are simply taking the aggregate numbers and parsing apart what can we learn from what we know now. And yes, we need to have those bigger and double-blind studies, and that would be good to have. Now we probably at a point where we probably either have been having one for a year or so. That maybe that's happened by now, and usually they take a long time to finally come to a conclusion, unfortunately. So more waiting. And I'm
speaking of conclusions. Maybe we should conclude with this week in studies and move on to the VOD squad.
Oh, come on. We're never going to talk about this stuff. Hey, all right. Now let's talk about Capcom, and they're looking at a way to provide you a way of playing their Resident Evil Village demo on whatever device you like. That's right. They're working with the guys at the Google and using what they're calling the Google, what did they rename it? Immersive Stream for Games, aka Stadia, to provide you a way to at any time try out the Resident Evil Village demo on a phone or a tablet or Windows or any PC with a browser, essentially. So This is exactly what they should be doing. Good job, Stadia. Get these companies to come in and say, yeah, you may not want to sell your stuff through us, or maybe they don't want to buy through us, but you know what? We can be a service to allow you to have a super in control demo of your software. And you don't even have to, you can make it disappear at any time. You can make it do exactly what you want. They can't break it. They can't hack it. This is actually really awesome.
There's a lot of cool elements to this. I agree. I think it's wonderful that you have a truly, like a true playable demo. It's not like a really tiny sample. It's not dumbed down or anything. It's the actual game. You're playing it for real. And I think that's very cool. There are a couple of things that I feel like would take this to the next level.
Sure.
For one thing, there's no saving at all in this, right? So if I want to come back and play it for another 10 minutes or something like that, I start back over in from scratch. So that's a little bit annoying. What I would love to see about this is if they were to tie this to your Stadia account. So for example, if I, having a Stadia account, logged in, played this demo, I would love to be able to just buy it and then have my game saved and be able to continue from where I was. Instead of now, if I buy it and I played for 30 minutes, I've got to replay that 30 minutes. I mean, it's a little thing. I don't think it's going to be a barrier for the vast majority of people to have to replay 30 minutes or so, because without being able to save, you obviously didn't get very far in the game. But I think that would just be like the icing on the cake. If I could just, since I used my account, it'll remember where I was and let me just pick up right there once I click the buy button.
That sounds exactly like what the Nintendo has been doing with their demos recently. For example, when Triangle Strategy, which is a Square game, came out, they let you play. It's a game where you can play through the stories of, like, I think 11 characters, and the demo of that game lets you play through the first one all the way through.
Cool.
And so you play through the demo of that game, and if you buy the game, it carries your progress over into it, which is super smart. Now, I'm sure other ones are doing it too. I just know that from the Nintendo side of things, and they've got a couple games, demos that do exactly that. And they could totally do this with Stadia, but they would have to have an agreement with them to have it so you were buying it through Stadia. You understood that, and you're not thinking, oh, this is a great demo, now I want to go play it on my PS5. Crap, how come I don't have my save data? That's a bigger ball of wax to figure out. So that would be very specific to Stadia, I think, in this case. So
I mean, I think if you bought it through a third party, but you could still have the game purchased through Google, through Stadia, and have the same kind of functionality, and still play on the same device, your Android or your Mac OS. I mean, this is versatile. It plays on a lot of devices. So I just think that would be cool. That would be like the icing on the cake. Otherwise, I still think this is super awesome. I love that they're doing this.
Yeah, and have you ever played Village?
I have not. I am a bit of a Resident Evil fan. I really enjoyed like 5 and 6. I think those are the last two that I played.
I played 1 and 2, and both of them were freaky enough when my young brain of like, bang, I'm out of bullets. What do I do? I hated that, so I couldn't play them anymore.
Yeah, I played 1, and I think I played 2. And I very much enjoyed them, but I didn't ever own them. I just played them at friends' houses with my friends, and they were wonderful. I loved them, but I just never got around to getting them for whatever reason.
My understanding is 4, it was like peak. It was the first time they moved into kind of an action version of it versus the switching between pre-rendered scenes kind of way of doing the game before. And apparently a lot of people love 4, and there's rumor that they're going to have a remake of 4. Maybe they announced it already. I don't know. So maybe 4, I'll try to give that a shot. It's supposed to be so good. Who knows?
Actually, I think that is the one I played, 4 and 5. Actually, not. No, it was 5.
Okay.
I didn't say so.
All right.
Anyways.
So, you know what TikTok needs more than anything? To tell you to stop using TikTok. Hey, guess what? New feature. TikTok has a new wellness features built into it. You know, like your Android and your iOS devices will tell you you probably need a break. Now that feature is coming directly into TikTok. You will be able to go in there and turn on the feature to, you know, remind you that maybe you should be stop staring at your screen for, you know, scrolling for the last 7 hours. Maybe that's too much. Yeah, they've got a little bit of a way to keep track of your usage, let you see, give you that self-shaming so you realize that you're playing with it too much. And, you know, and getting that endorphin hit too much. Actually, I've never used TikTok. I probably would love it, so I shouldn't say too much about it. But now it will tell you every once in a while you need to take a break. Go ahead and give it a, you know, maybe you should not come back to it as and give yourself a break from it, which good on them.
Yeah, that's definitely necessary. I did have TikTok for a while. Because it's funny because
did you have TikTok for a while or did you have COVID for a while? I'm not certain. Which one was it?
When we first had TikTok on the show, I remember like mercilessly slamming how horrible it was that they were doing all this vertical video and, you know, that's the end of the world is nigh.
I remember this.
And then like a few weeks later, for whatever reason, I downloaded it. I think it was when we went to CES. I downloaded it just to watch something and have something to do at the airport or something. And what I found is I needed this functionality really bad because I would like sit down in bed at the end of the day and start flipping videos. And then all of a sudden it's like 2:30 a.m. And I'm like, wait, it was midnight like 10 seconds ago. So I think this is a really good feature. I think that more apps, especially social media related ones, should be doing this kind of stuff just as a service, or at least have the functionality built in, whether you force it or not. I do like that they automatically turn it on for people that are set 13 to 17.
Nice.
So if you've registered as being a minor, it gives you reminders after 100 minutes in a day. So I think that's really cool. You know, in the end, what I would say is I still think we would all be better off if people just did no more than like 30 minutes of this kind of stuff in a day. It's really, it's the current drug of this generation. So
yeah,
get away from it. But it's awesome.
Hey,
but don't do it. It's very bad.
I'm like so into this TikTok, man.
Well,
it's awesome.
I've never tried TikTok. I don't know, but maybe I should give it a try. Maybe it would help me go to sleep at night.
See, I found the opposite, right? Like, it just kept me up all night long. And
no,
I've got.
When you're my age, you won't make it that long. Right? Yeah, right. You'll definitely fall asleep, especially if you're lying down.
I found listening to podcasts about things I don't care about puts me to sleep very fast.
See, I don't have to worry about it. I literally fall asleep the second I close my eyes.
All right, Xbox Game Pass. We've announced, I think last week, that it was coming to various TVs, including Samsung TVs. But the announcement here is that it is officially coming to the new TVs that are coming out on June 30th. That's right. You can get yourselves one of these brand new TVs from Samsung that they are going to be releasing soon. And they will have the Xbox Game Pass streaming service available built into it with the ability to connect to your Xbox or PlayStation 4 or probably PlayStation 5, I don't know. But other Bluetooth controllers and gamepads, and allow you to play directly on the TV. No console required as long as you have the streaming service.
I like it.
Okay. And
would gamers really use this though?
So here's the thing. In some ways, I love the idea of streaming everything. I was for a while streaming inside my house from a machine that was powerful to a machine that was poor, and that worked great, except for the audio feedback feature. I couldn't talk to anybody back through it because it didn't have any way of sending back the audio. And so I like it for, especially for games that I don't want to have to download and install on cheap hardware, if you know what I mean. So the game that really makes sense to me for this kind of stuff is gigantic games that would be fun to play, that are beautiful to play, that I want to play on my phone. For example, Microsoft Flight Simulator. That thing is humongous. And I bet you it plays great over streaming because you don't have to install it and just streams a nice, clean image of you flying in the sky. Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
So what I understood from that is it's for gamers who wants a screen in their room.
Sure, that makes sense.
I think that there's probably a few different kinds of gamers, and they're more your hardcore type gamers are probably going to prefer to have a game installed on their local machine.
Yep.
That's your peak for performance, right? It's also your most expensive solution, and it's the most limited because it means that you're stuck in one place with one monitor or one monitor setup. And but it gives you the absolute best playing scenario and solution. Zero latency, those kinds of things. I think for any casual gamer, this is probably the ideal solution, because then you can easily switch screens, switch rooms.
There's no huge upfront investment into a machine if you don't want to pay for one.
Yeah. And then, in between, I'm sure there's a variety of folks that would like it either way, or maybe even play it both ways, right? Like, I'm the kind of person that might see myself doing that.
I was playing Deliver Us the Moon on Stadia recently, and which is a slow pace space puzzle game where you're walking around just constantly beautiful game, absolutely beautiful. Playing it on my TV in my living room with no computer on it because I was able to stream it through Stadia, so it's great.
Yeah.
All right, Meta. All these companies are changing their names. Facebook was we use, or not Alphabet.
Previously Facebook.
The company previously known as Facebook is discontinuing. That's right, stopping to make various portal devices for their consumer level devices. They are going to continue doing their business focused devices, so their meeting room style portals. They're going to continue doing that. But the smaller designed for grandma's portal devices, looks like they are going to stop providing those, which is interesting because I'm looking at the numbers further down in the story here. They sold 600,000 devices in 2020 and $800,000 devices in 2021, which is not huge numbers, but that's not bad. I guess that's small for Facebook / Meta, but
yeah. The thing is that what they indicated is that, all of the lift and some beyond that was in business sales. So because what they realized is that most of the people that were buying this were buying it for business related uses. And as such, it just made more sense to refocus, probably less expensive to support the business market. And you're more likely to have multiple devices in the same place. So there's probably a lot of cost benefits that result from doing that kind of setup.
Very cool.
It does make you wonder what business will use the Facebook platform for communication.
It was a fairly nice all-in-one device that had the full, widescreen with the high resolution that would virtual zoom into the one location where it sees faces and follow around the room. And they were one of the first ones to do that at a somewhat not consumer level, the prosumer level, price level, I would call it. And Apple's now doing that with their thing too, which is kind of cool. It's a cool feature that people probably were like, yeah, we could do this to do especially during pandemic times, everybody was looking for a solution. And I bet you there's a fair number of those sales were like, what's the only option we get? This portal thing? Okay, we'll buy that. I bet you that was some of it too. All right.
Yeah.
The guys from Spotify have been purchasing all kinds of startups and AI companies recently. And one of the things they're talking about here is that they're looking at taking of their various IPs and things that they've been purchasing in order to do a new way of taking texts and converting it into a spoken text-to-speech kind of solution. But according to this article, they're looking at possibly doing something extremely realistic with it, stunningly realistic. Text-to-speech has been getting better and better. But my hope here is that we're finally going to get a device that is able to take that text-to-speech, maybe a story that's being read, and identify the voices and assign a voice to each character of a said story in order to have a consistent, this person is speaking, you hear that person's voice being said, and with inflection and with emphasis and all of those things, in order to have a fairly well, probably slightly dry, but still, decent amount of following along with the voices of somebody along the way. Now, that being said, at the same time, don't get rid of my voice actors. I love those guys. So
yeah, that's kind of where I fall on this. Kind of two things. I think the idea of replacing voice actors is probably unrealistic, simply now, because an understanding of the inflection and tone would be probably pretty difficult, even for something that's stunningly realistic. I suspect that means that there's more natural cadence and stuff, but I'd be curious how good it does in parsing tone and intent, which is where you get the excellence from a voice actor, right? Is that. That said, it's kind of interesting. I mean, this kind of stuff to me doesn't really move things forward all that much. I don't really get too excited about this kind of stuff unless you're doing some sort of interactive content. Because to me, I would rather see them invest in, like you said, in voice actors doing pre-recorded stuff and leave AI to doing dynamic stuff that you can't do in advance, that you can't have a voice actor perform something because they're responding actually dynamically to what you input, to what you say. So opens up some future possibilities, but I just don't see it being the right choice for most things that are out there right now. We'll see though.
Yeah. Makes you wonder if Spotify is going to get into robocalls.
Oh, there you go.
Welcome to Spotify. This is the robocall channel where you get to listen to our various robocalls and the crazy responses from our callers.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need. Is
to listen to the people go, "Stop calling me, you stupid!"
No, yeah, more realistic and lifelike robocallers. That is just what we need.
No,
Jimmy, you have a horribly deviant mind.
It's just where it's going.
Yeah, he's not wrong. It's Microsoft Teams has made an update to their video platform, which allows you to join meetings and have those virtual meetings online. They are doing what a lot of the other companies have already been doing. They're adding AI to the call matrix in order to automatically remove not just echo from calls, but other background noises. So you are going to be able to turn on the feature and have much less of that background interruptions happening inside your Teams call. I know that this is kind of famous from the NVIDIA guys, because they have the same thing with their microphone being able to remove all the RTX noise remover. And I know Zoom and Google have had this feature for at least a little while, so now it's coming into Meet. Oh, not Meet, Teams. Meet already had it. Don't meet me. It's just Teams. It's all good. All right.
This is pretty cool. The one note that they put in here is the thing that we need, though.
What's that?
The ability for an AI to stop rude people from hijacking the conversation.
What?
Once we have that, this AI stuff is actually worthwhile.
Does
Until then, but no.
Does
I mean,
the
getting
AI,
rid of echoes.
does the AI come up and
Getting
like
rid of
shush you?
echoes.
Shh. He's
Getting
talking.
rid of echoes.
He's talking. Shh. He's talking. Shh. No,
Yeah.
stop it. And only he hears that because it's obviously separating all the audio. So it's just that one guy. Shh. Shh.
Well, at least, Mike, at least you have a feature now that can block you pouring the drink of alcohol in the background when that new person gets on, right?
That's right.
That's some of the best parts of the videos. It's the weird stuff you see in the backgrounds. What are you talking about? Don't do that, Microsoft. All right. Google. So they have. Okay. What is this story? This story is that Google is looking and taking what's something they call the Conversational Actions Framework. And this is something that allowed them to set it up so you could have a better ongoing conversation with the Google devices. But it was limited in the fact that it only really worked with the Google Homes. It wasn't able to work with any other things like your watch. And I think you could do it with your phone, but you'd have to like enable conversation mode or something like that. It looks like they're kind of moving away from their conversational actions and going to be making it... and it's just increasing the functionality of the Google and conversation on all the devices moving forward. So, okay.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I'm excited about the possibility of the Pixel Watch because this old Android Moto 360 has been doing great for me, but I definitely think that eventually I would want to upgrade. Maybe not right away, but it's cool. Maybe I would like to see those features. I guess all my other friends with their Apple Watches, I'm all jealous about some of the things they can do. So, whatever. Google is possibly being forced. Maybe they're letting do it. Maybe, I don't know. It's they're being regulated. And the EU is looking at taking their platform of YouTube on YouTube and all their commercials that they have on there. And they're looking at allowing third parties to be able to put ads on that platform. Since I pay for YouTube Premium, I don't care because I don't see any of the ads, but I can only imagine that it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. Is this going to be worse than it currently is?
Yeah, this is absolutely horrible. I mean, from an outsider's perspective, I wish nothing more than for Google, Apple, Facebook, all of them to just stick their middle finger up at the European Union and just say, no, fine, I can't sell ads in Europe. Screw you. We're not giving in to this BS. And you can't fine us for it. Because yeah, I mean, that's what I would do if I were them. I feel like the European Union has vastly overreached time and time again. And there is absolutely no logical reason or justifiable reason that YouTube should have to be opened up to third-party ad platforms. YouTube is fully owned by Google. They should be able to do whatever they want.
If YouTube is an open platform and they get paid for the third-party ads and they allow them in, so let's say this is a volunteer, they decide to do this because, okay, we want to let you come in here and put your ads on your shows because we just stream whatever you put on us on ours, but you have your own ads you want to put on there, and you don't want to make them into the things because you want to be dynamic for whatever reason. But you have an ad break at a specific time, and you want to be able to put this ad, or this ad there, but you're paying for us for that. I can see that actually being okay. I
mean, there's a lot of ways that they could implement it.
Yeah,
that it wouldn't be necessarily horrible, but ultimately, in the end, like I said, the problem is the European Commission and their overreach. It just needs to be stopped. And unfortunately, there's enough money in Europe that nobody's willing to do it. But if, they should have done it long ago, and there would just virtually be no internet in Europe. And then the Europeans would
Or maybe Google will just pay the
Of course.
fine, whatever it is. I mean, that's what Apple
Well,
did
no, I mean,
recently,
that's
right? They refused to do whatever it was that the Netherlands did. So Apple just paid the fine and said, okay, fine. We'll
right.
just pay
But
the
my
fine.
point is that there's no reason for them to be paying the fines. Why? Who are you to tell me that I have to pay you? I have something on the internet. If people in your country come visit my thing that's on the internet and it's not in your country, so what right do you have to charge me?
Yeah, I mean, people
It's
could still get on a VPN and access it anyway and get
right.
around it, right? But
Yeah.
but you know, a lot of people don't, you know, and for those that don't, you know, like say for example, if somebody's accessing your content via a smartphone, they're probably not going to use a VPN, right?
Right.
So,
But I mean, what I'm saying though is Google has no reason to make somebody have to use a VPN just because they happen to be in Germany. Now, because as a general rule, people accept the request of international entities, of foreign governments, and are willing to pay the fines that foreign governments impose upon them, they do. But from an actual practical perspective, there's no logical reason that Google should be willing to subject themselves to those fines and fees.
I mean, it's not unprecedented, right? Because Google did refuse to do business in China, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Now, that's not to say that a person that lives in China couldn't theoretically get on Google, but
sure they could.
They would have to find a way to make that work. And that's the way it should be. Companies should not subject themselves to foreign entities. There's no logical reason for it online. And that's my argument. We should all be free. Free the internet, man.
Maybe one day we'll all be free, man. You never know. Hey, but you won't be free from your next WebEx meeting. You know, when I have a WebEx meeting I don't want to be on, you know what I do? I say I have to go drive down this, somewhere away, and it's going to be it's going to take me like an hour to get there and an hour to get back. You know what I mean? Can't be at this WebEx meeting. No way. It's no way you're going to get me to get to that WebEx meeting because my car, all it's got is CarPlay. Nothing on that says that you can do it. Wait, well, Cisco is announcing CarPlay for support for WebEx, so you can continue your WebEx meetings in your car. Man.
Oh, you can do that with Teams already. I've done a Teams call in the car before on CarPlay using my iPhone.
Yeah, I've been able to do the same thing with Zoom and just send the audio to my phone and then have the audio over the Bluetooth and all that. But this is built into CarPlay as an app in CarPlay. So
yeah, so is Teams. Teams is an app in CarPlay. Yes.
Yeah, it's horrible. Teams did it first.
Android Auto doesn't have any of those, right?
I don't know.
I
mean, yeah, I don't know. That seems horrible to me. I agree. If you have your phone, you can already do the audio through Bluetooth. That seems good enough. Trying to make it easier to get stuck in meetings is not a good thing, in my opinion. We're all doing too many of these online meetings as it is.
Yeah, there's too many meetings. I agree with that, right? But I mean, like say, about twice a year, I go and have blood drawn. Matter of fact, I got to go soon here. And we have a 8:30 meeting every morning, Monday through Friday. And usually when I go to get blood drawn, it's usually like right about 8 o'clock. So I'm, coming back from, getting my blood drawn, I'll join the meeting via the car, right? And then I pull into if the meeting's running long and I pull into the garage, right? Then I just switch to my phone and continue on until the meeting ends, right? So I've done that before, right? And it's good for those kind of situations. But yeah, day in and day out, attending meetings while you're driving into work and that kind of thing. Yeah, I couldn't see myself doing it on a daily basis. Now, on the once in a while thing, yeah, okay, but yeah, I'm with you on that, Mike. I wouldn't want to do this daily.
And yeah, we have. All right. Meta, the guys who have all the Oculus headsets out there, are now releasing new features for these headsets that allows a parent or guardian to set up restricted controls for their younglings, be able to restrict apps that are being able to be played on there. Because, you know, those kids find your porn apps and your VR porn apps. That's not good. Don't let them do that. That's not good. And maybe block other things like browsers and which games they can play, give them age restrictions so the parents can approve or deny. This is, you know, like many other different platforms out there, these parental controls, setting things, what can and can't be done from a parent's point of view to a kiddo. It's not a bad idea. Yeah. So that's cool. This is, I know that the next big thing I'm going to be doing is getting a headset sometime and going that way. The Quest 2, the next version of the Quest, whatever it'll be, it seems like the right choice to me, except for it's owned by Meta / Facebook. So, and I refuse to use them. So I don't know. I'm excited because this is the right stuff. This is the right features. I like these features. This is the only reason I let my son play on his Xbox. So
yeah, definitely a good deal to have.
Yeah. So good job, guys. Now just make it so I can have a non-Facebook account to log in, and I'm all for it. You got another customer. Oh, here's an interesting story. Microsoft has announced, and today is the day, that Internet Explorer for Windows 10 is no more. As of today, you will no longer be able to use Internet Explorer to open up various things on your computer. That does not mean that Internet Explorer is actually gone. There are many pieces of Internet Explorer, many things that use the same rendering engine as an Internet Explorer instead of the newer system that they have, which is
WebKit.
Yeah, but no, the old one was called Trident, was what they use, and that engine is used for a lot of help pages that they have, internal pages that are just HTML rendered. It still lives as a ghost in the system, but you will no longer be able to open up a web page using Internet Explorer, which in my book is probably a good thing. This thing has been around way too long, if you ask me. It's good riddance.
Yes. I can remember in Mac OS 9, you could actually, Microsoft actually made a Windows Explorer browser for Mac OS 9 back in the day.
Yeah, it was halfway decent too.
Yeah, it was. It actually was pretty decent back then for the time, until the more modern browsers started to come out, right?
Yeah. IE was the worst of the browsers. For a long time. They got better and better as time went.
It kind of went in waves, because when it first came out, 1, 2, and then finally 3 was good. 4 was the beginning of the descent. 3 when 3 came out, it was the same time Netscape was out. You know, all of them were basically the same.
Yeah, it was the ActiveX, right?
4 introduced ActiveX.
Right. ActiveX is where it started to get down south, right? Because that was Microsoft trying to do their own version of Java, right?
Yeah,
and it just made it. They just never really got it right.
So, do you guys know what ActiveX is?
Yeah, it's their version of Java. I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs about
it. This is anecdotal because I've heard somebody else basically explain it to me. Essentially, ActiveX was allowing your computer to run an Windows executable over the internet. What could possibly go wrong? Just an exe file over the internet. Just go ahead. Let's just pass that right through the browser and let your computer just start playing it. Thus, it only worked on Windows.
Yeah, it was a big security hole.
It was a huge security hole. Security was the last thought on their minds on that. So,
yeah.
And yes, the later versions of Internet Explorer were good. 11 actually was good. I had no problem
Yeah.
with 11. 10 was a little weird, but 11 was
10 is when it started getting better,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
So what do they use now if they're
maybe
not going to
even
use
9.
Internet Explorer?
Edge. You have to use Edge.
Oh, Edge, the Edge browser.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is actually a really good browser. I still prefer Chrome, mostly because I still think Chrome has the best development tools. And, you know, if I'm going to use the browser for all of my development work, then I might as well use it the rest of the time. But Edge is solid.
Chrome is definitely good for desktops, but on laptops, it's a real battery killer.
That's true of pretty much all the different Edge-based browsers. Some of them do better, though, the Chrome-based browsers. But Edge recently has been doing a lot of self-promotion, Microsoft self-promotion, which has been really bothersome. That's the pop-ups that constantly pop up of why aren't you using, try out this new feature, you get these new coupons. Chrome doesn't do that, except for when you go to their homepage and they just say, you should be using Chrome, and you dismiss that one. A cookie is set. It never shows you that again. I love that. But otherwise, they've been doing that self-promotion thing, the pop-ups thing, too much. There is a registry key. I know this because I set this for my entire domain at school, so they don't have to see it if they ever open up Edge. A lot of those features I have some turned off. But so,
yeah, like every time I do an update on Windows, it asks me again, do I want to start using Edge? And it's very annoying. I agree. It's almost as bad, though not quite as bad as my phone, which is a Samsung phone. And every time I do an update, it turns Bixby back on. Like literally every time. I can turn Bixby off and it'll immediately get reset every single Android update.
Oh, the power
drives me crazy.
The power of the default and the ability to reset the default.
Yeah, it's horrible. If you do this, Microsoft, then I will probably switch over to Linux or something, just so I don't have to deal with that anymore. Yeah, if I could switch, I mean, honestly, I've thought about switching brands of phone just because of that, but it's just my phone's so expensive that I just don't want to replace it.
I'm getting a free phone from Google next month.
Yeah,
Google Fi, which I use and I like. They have a subscription plan, so I basically say I'm going to be on it for 2 years, which I'm going to be on it for 2 years,
right?
And they give me a free Pixel 6a. They'll give me the new phone for free.
Yeah, I mean, I pay.
It's like, okay,
you know, I don't know, probably like $30 a month for my phone. It's over 2 years because it's like $1,300. So these phones are stupidly expensive now.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so I just sell my old phone and use that to subsidize the new phone.
Dang you! And you
see. I use my phones until they're no longer worth anything. So, I mean, like my last phone was like 5.5 years old. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was an antique. Nobody would pay anything for it. I tried because my wife traded hers in, and she pays $5 a month for the model down from mine. Mm-hmm. That would have been like 25 or 30 a month because she had a lot of trade-in value. But mine, they were like, we'll give you $5 total. I'm like, well, it's like, no, I might as well throw it away for that. just to spite you so you can't sell it again for $100.
Man.
No.
Oh well. Hey, Apple is getting access to the Major League Soccer games. Apple TV will be the streaming platform for you to watch the Major League Soccer games for a decade. They're getting a whole decade's worth of the games here. They've got the rights to. So I'm not certain if this is going to require you to have sometimes you can watch these games on the like Apple TV without a subscription. Yep. There will be. It looks like you will need the subscription, and it will be a specific one for the MLS games that you will need in order to watch the games. But no blackouts. That's cool. Hey, I'm all for the no blackouts. Major League Baseball, pay attention. Soccer can do it. Why can't you?
Makes you wonder how far down this path Apple's going to go with the sports, because they already had the Friday night baseball, which I've watched, by the way, and it is actually pretty good. So it makes me wonder how far down the path they're going to go with this. Maybe they're just going to pick up a few and let that do it, or maybe they're really going to get heavy duty into it, because hey, what keeps a lot of cable subscribers subscribed to cable? Well, it's sports, right. So if they go down this path quite a bit, then that could maybe shake things up a little bit.
So my question, and maybe you could answer this, is: are they doing? I'm sure they must be having their own announcers.
Oh yeah.
Announce it.
Yes.
Right?
The baseball streams have their own announcers, and my understanding is those first few games were kind of not very good, but as later baseball games were going on, they got better announcers, and apparently they're better now. But those first
they have their own announcers. They're pretty good, but especially in baseball, right? I mean, and I don't know, maybe I'm showing my age now, but typically in baseball, what most, like, say, if you're a fan of the Atlanta Braves, right, then you would turn on the TV, turn down the television announcers, right, and then turn on the radio announcers, the local radio announcers, and listen to them, right? Yeah. That's what a lot of people would do anyway, right? But but that said, they've got their own announcers. I think they do a pretty good job. They're new. They're going to be people you've not really heard of before and that kind of thing. But I think they do a decent job of calling the games, and everything. I don't think it's too terrible. And then if you do like to hear your local guys, right, you could always do the trick with the radio. Yeah.
To me, that's the biggest difference. Like for the only thing I really know anymore, because I used to do baseball. I used to watch the Braves all the time, but that was like so long ago that it doesn't even really count anymore.
Did you used to watch when Phil Niekro played?
No, before that, man. Or maybe not. I don't know who Phil Niekro is, but
okay, Phil Niekro was back in the 70s. Okay,
then not before that. It was in the 90s. Their heyday when they were going to the World Series every year. That's when I was watching them. That's when I lived in Atlanta. And so once I moved away, I didn't get all of the games. And so I just stopped paying as much attention. But for Boise State football, I know that there's a world of difference between the games that get broadcast on ESPN and those that get broadcast on FSN, Fox Sports Network, because the Fox Sports games are awful. The announcers are not anywhere near as good. The video and the views and of the action and stuff are never as good as what I seem to get when ESPN's there. Like the visual overlays that they put on the field, how like they put the line of scrimmage there and the line to gain and all of that. Like, it's much cleaner, much more crisp, always on ESPN. So I wonder if these systems and these services are matching up or going to match the kind of quality that you get out of ESPN. It's obviously not make or break, because ESPN also doesn't have all of these games. So that's not necessarily what your other option is, but I wonder about that.
Well, certainly for the MLS games, they'll have to have an announcer that can really hold the note on the word goal. Right?
That guy hasn't copyrighted that yet, or he just says goal. Oh, wait a second. I don't want to say that because I'll break copyright. If that's
might get copyright struck.
I don't want to get that copyright strike. All right. Okay. If you are a streamer on Twitch, You've been probably been dealing with either the automatic ad system, or I don't even know. Do they have a way for you to push a button and make an ad break happen at a specific time in your stream? I don't know, but it looks like that's now going to be a feature, and there's been increases to that platform, which is going to be providing a higher percentage of the revenue to you, which is going to make it easier for you to make money. They're talking about a 55% of the money that was going to be generated being sent to the streamer for their streamers. And Twitch is saying that if you're streaming 40 hours per month and you're able to provide 3 minutes of ads per hour, you can earn $300 off of that, which ain't nothing to, that's not so bad. Yeah. That's, that seems halfway decent. I could see people pushing that ad button a lot and making lots of money, but that's what I'm worried about, everybody. Does this mean we're going to have more built-in ad breaks in your Twitch streams? I hope not, but I expect so. No.
Yeah. I mean,
hey, that's $7.50 an hour. So I guess that's okay.
Yeah, I used to earn that much an hour in minimum wage.
Yeah. Most states, I think the minimum wage is higher than that at this point.
Yeah, some of them are still a lot lower. I think there's still a couple $5 still out there.
Is that the way it's worded is like that's how much you would make?
I think it's
not how much you would make per million viewers or something like that. So I would imagine that people that run more. That have lots of viewers get paid more than that, because otherwise it wouldn't be worth it. Like if your maximum per month was a few hundred, maybe $1,000 a month, that wouldn't be worthwhile.
If this was a thing where it doesn't matter how many viewers you had, you just had to show 3 minutes of ads per hour, and after 40 hours per month, you get $300. A bots will be created to game the system. Will be just creating videos with streaming and three minutes of ads per hour, constantly rake in the money, even if they don't have any viewers. If that's what they're doing, so there has to be a line somewhere where there's how many eyeballs are actually hitting. So I suspect.
They're getting 55% of the ad revenue. So. So that's the modification that they're releasing. Okay, sorry, I hadn't fully read this article. So it's going from a flat fee where you would make $300 to you'll get 55% of the ad revenue. So if you have 1 million viewers, that ad revenue would be pretty significant.
Gotcha.
And you would make 55% of that, which would be 55% of a very significant amount of money. So. Right. So your ninjas are still making millions.
So I wonder if you could use the AI feature of Spotify and set up a channel, right? And make them
run 24/7.
Yeah, let it just run 24/7, right?
I mean, the trick is, of course, you'd have to run content into that AI.
There are lots of great books that are public domain. You could feed into it so much stuff.
It's true. Yeah.
Just open up the Project Gettysburg, not Gettysburg, Gutenberg.
Gutenberg, right? Yeah.
Just pour it into the AI. Let the AI chew on that and spit it out. And every few minutes say, "And now for an ad break."
That would be. That would actually be pretty brilliant. Yeah, I think I know what I'm doing this weekend.
All right. YouTube is also making some changes to their platform. YouTube is making it easier for creators to make corrections. They can actually add a card up to the side of the screen and also make it so you can see the corrections listed in a feed, so you can see where any corrections that you have on any of your videos you've created. I don't know if this means that you'll be able to make edits of corrections and then maybe mark them as corrections. That's what it looks like. This is better better alternative to editing the video and then re-uploading it. It looks like. Yeah, so right. One thing what we've found with YouTube is that if you did want to do editing of these live streams, it's really difficult to do. You really have to download, redo any mixing you want to re-upload it, and then it becomes a whole new video generally, versus just trimming the ends, which is what the editing you usually get to do. So Being able to insert a correction right into the stream, that's awesome. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It looks like it's a pretty interesting feature and functionality. I know that I've experienced similar kinds of time-stamped corrections on videos for like tutorials. Like I've done a couple of like programming videos that as time goes by, like maybe technology changes, like the framework that it's using has changed and updated. And so you can pin corrections as a customer onto those videos and say, hey, I found this to be a way to fix this problem with the new release of, Node or whatever. And so it's timestamped like that. The one thing I would say is in the ones I've seen, they don't put the corrections up top, like on the video screen. So you have to be open to like the corrections tab, like what they show in the second image, but overlaying it so people immediately see that there's corrections. So if you said something about a price and the price changes dramatically, you could add a correction or something. That's really cool. I like that. I like that it's up there. I like that you can add it, and I like that you don't have to edit the video as well. It's pretty cool functionality.
Nice. And last story we have here is about YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts is that kind of a TikTok clone that's built into YouTube. If you ever use YouTube on your phone and flip through YouTube, you will every once in a while pop up YouTube Shorts section. You can see some of the shorts that are in there. And I think there's even a separate app for it, so you could just watch the YouTube Shorts if you want to. It looks like YouTube is saying that there have been over 1.5 billion monthly users logged into it, which apparently is more than TikTok. If you are looking at recent numbers, their TikTok was supposed to be hitting 1 billion monthly users soon, and they're at 1.5. I think this is probably inflated due to people watching YouTube videos, but still, big number. Gotta say, why are we watching TikTok, everybody? Why aren't we watching it all on YouTube Jorts?
I got confused at the beginning of this, because when you look at the article, right, there's a picture of a girl standing there in shorts, right? I got a little confused there, but then it's like, oh, okay, I'm with you now, right?
Yeah, my suspicion is this is greatly inflated from a practical perspective. I have occasionally clicked on and watched a YouTube short, so I'm sure I'm counted in that number. My eyes on YouTube shorts in a given month are probably less than 5 minutes, but I would definitely count as an active user of the service as a result. And the fact that they squeeze it into your feed, if you scroll through your feed on your phone or in your browser, it's pretty easy for them to capture some views, because if you just put, if the short has a good catch line and a good thumbnail, there's no reason you wouldn't click on it and watch the 30-second video. From an ad perspective, I think the actual viewing minutes is probably orders of magnitude lower than TikTok, where even though they have more, quote, monthly users.
So YouTube Shorts, now this is the first time I'm hearing of this. Is it on the regular YouTube URL?
When you get on the regular YouTube and you're scrolling through the various rows, eventually one of the rows, like 4 or 5 down, will actually be a row of YouTube Shorts. You will notice it looks different because they are oriented like a phone is in portrait mode, because it's headed for that kind of TikTok interface. And they are short. They're a minute or less generally. And they are oftentimes a YouTube star making a funny bit, taking a funny bit of their own show, or making a pronouncement that they're keeping it short for, they're doing a little video. And also sometimes it's just a TikTok just copied over. So that's how I get my best TikToks. That and on Reddit /funny, r/funny. That's how I get all my best TikTok stuff.
So there's a roll of shorts in there somewhere.
No, they're
Yeah.
jorts. YouTube jorts. That's what I'm telling you. That's what they are.
Okay. Now I think I see it. Yeah, there's a thing on the right that says the shorts.
Huh?
First time I
Yeah.
noticed that.
It depends on your screen
okay.
resolution as to where they put it.
Oh.
On your phone, it'll be a row. On a big browser, you'll usually see it on the side or something like that. But sometimes you'll get a row. It just depends on exactly how your configuration is set up. I mean, I think it's probably a little inflated. It doesn't really represent the fact that there's actually more people watching at more time. But yeah, I mean, because YouTube has more viewers and they're sticking it in front of everybody
Right.
that's viewing YouTube, they're going to get more people that just happen to click and watch a video. So.
Yay, messing with numbers, lies, damn lies and statistics. I know, it's great. And that is the end of the stories of the week. And that brings us to the part of the show where we get to take an awkward moment and thank our patrons. If you'd like to be a patron and help us out here, you can go to patreon.com/thevodsquad and give us $1. If you give us $1, we become we become people who really like you. We just do. We think that you're pretty cool. And that's something that's pretty cool. Also, it's not very much. It's just $1. It's not like we're asking for a lot. So but we understand. And if you do get that, if you do pay that $1, one of the advantages is that you do get access to our audio feed that you don't have to wait for somebody to come around and actually post it on all the various streaming platforms, which eventually we get around to. Sometimes we're a week or two behind, but we get to it. But generally, we get that audio feed up right away, so you can listen to us on your next trip to work and yell at us in the car, which is we understand it's better that it's easier for us to be consumed that way if you listen to us through audio. So we like that. So
and just think about it. $1 is not that much. It's less than a pint of gas.
A cup of gas.
I was gonna say you're getting close to it being a cup of gas.
Patreon.com/thevodsquad. Which leads us to rants and raves. I just noticed that VCR recording picture on the Rants and Raves has put on SLP, which means it was trying to make an 8-hour tape out of that poor VHS tape, which the quality on that is just horrible. I know it's horrible. There's my first part of my rant, but I will let somebody else go first this week. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, me? Okay. I haven't watched a lot this week. I did watch Kenobi. I continue to be fairly underwhelmed by the series.
Really?
Yeah. This, to me, continues the questionable line of decisions that the Disney folks have made about Star Wars characters that, to me, largely ignore the vast majority of the canon that exists before the shows that they produce. It's like they have somebody that's read a 2-paragraph summary about Kenobi and has never seen any other Star Wars content. That's just my opinion. It's not that it's entirely unenjoyable to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it doesn't ring true to the character.
So I have not seen this week's episode, but I've seen everything up to this week. And so
I haven't seen this week's.
They release on Wednesdays and we do our show on Wednesdays. So I usually get to watch it on Thursdays. So
yeah, same with me. I'll watch it tomorrow as well.
They have not broken Kenobi yet. Oh, they have not done something stupid yet, which is actually really easy to do. So I give them at least a good job. Now do something good. Tell us an actual story, please. We understand. Yep, please just do something okay, because
Yeah.
It has been slow. It has been plotting. It has been trying not to do anything that they couldn't do. And they're just touching on things and they're taking their time. And I'm okay with that. But there has to be a payoff at the end. Especially I'm okay with that because we know that there's supposed to be this long period of time where Obi-Wan is literally just sitting around doing nothing for the longest time. So I'm okay with that.
And I'll add to that too. But I mean, to me, it seems like it's a continuation of the story, right? Because if you look at the last episode, I guess that was episode 3, right, of Star Wars, right? That's where we left, Obi-Wan Kenobi at, right? We left him there, looking over Luke, in the planet, and it kind of makes sense, the sequence of events that we see happening in the TV show. And it kind of gives us that more content and answers some of the questions. What did happen between episode 3 and episode 4?
It's a huge
gap of time there, right? And it does seem to be filling some of that color in now, at least for me, right? I think I get where Mike is coming from. He's coming from, okay, so episode 3 was this high action packed, a lot of content being packed in there, all in one movie, and now we get this where it's kind of like just a walk on the beach kind of story,
I think
Kenobi.
Yeah, it would be hard for me to say anything without really kind of getting into spoilers, so I'll save any more conversation till after. But just kind of in short, I just feel like it's underwhelming, not from a show perspective. Not that the show is too slow or anything, just I don't feel like they're portraying the characters the way they should be, with the exception of Leia, who I think is
it's the Leia show.
Perfect.
Leia is really a star in the show.
Obi-Wan Kenobi with Leia.
Yeah. And my goodness, I don't know if they're dubbing it in or whatever, or if James Earl Jones still has the voice that good even at his age now, right? But I guess I'm spoiling things a little bit there.
No, you're not. Vader exists. It's okay. Yeah. He exists. He does speak.
That's the trailers and the teasers all hinted that Vader was in it. So I don't think you're spoiling anything. But yeah, let's save more for after show, and we can talk a little bit. Otherwise, I haven't really watched much of anything else this week. So
okay.
What I guess, Jimmy, what do you got going on?
Yeah. So first, before I talk about a show that I want to talk about here, mention that I just started watching not long ago. I want to mention a book, right? It may sound like it's a political book, but really it's not, right? So Andrew Yang, who was a Democrat who ran for president a few years ago, right?
Wacky guy.
He wrote a book called The War on Normal People, right? And this book is very interesting read. I just read it. And the War on Normal People, what it talks about a lot of is automation, right? And the implementation of automated factories and that kind of thing, and the impact that it'll have on society, right? So, and that's really what the book is more about, right? It's more about that. It's not really political at all, even though he's a guy, he was kind of a part-time politician and ran for president once, right? But it's a good read if you're interested in, automation and that kind of thing, and what kind of impact that might have on society. I'd recommend reading that book. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
And he's a smart guy too. If you get the Audible version of it, which I did, because I don't have a whole lot of time to read anymore these days, He actually narrates the book on the Audible version.
Sometimes when the author narrates, it's really good, and sometimes when the author narrates, it's really bad. So I'm guessing it's good.
This one's pretty good, right? You know, I won't say he's the greatest narrator of all times, right? But he does a good job on it. I think he did a solid job of it.
Okay, cool.
So Andrew Yang, A War on Normal People, right? It's a pretty good book.
Cool.
So the show I wanted to talk about is an Apple TV Plus show. It's called Severance, right?
This is the one with home and work personalities, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, that's what it is, right? It is it's kind of a science fiction thing, right? Where they develop this technology where they can sever your work life from your outside of work life, right? And man, it's just it's really a good. I'm only 4 episodes in, and I'll tell you, it's really good, right? It's a good show, excellent show.
Okay, go ahead. I just could imagine. Is there something like 2 people who are at work together and they're like, man, this guy, he's my best bud. You're great. All right. I'll see you tomorrow because it's been really good talking to you. You're funny. I really like working with you. And then after work, man, I hate your guts. You're just such a jerk. I really hate you. Because is there any of that in there? Just curious. No. Oh, why not? Why not?
No, not like that. Yeah, not like what you described, right?
Oh, okay.
You know, quite naturally, there'll be something to kind of want to circumvent the actual severance, right? Okay. But it's you know, I don't know. It's science fiction, no doubt about that. But it puts it in like today's world times, so to speak. Two, it kind of has that corporate overlord tone to it as well, right? Kind of has that in there, right? So, but just really, really good show. Christopher Walken.
Oh, he
has a part in it.
Haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah, so Christopher Walken has a part in this show. So if you like Christopher Walken, you know, he had not a major role, but he has a part in it, right? So yeah, it's a good show, and definitely if you're in the Apple ecosystem and have Apple TV Plus, you know, it's definitely you want to add it to your list. And I got to say, you know, Apple TV Plus in general, they really come out with a lot of good shows. You know, a couple of years ago, I probably wouldn't have said this, but as of right now today, yeah, I think Apple TV Plus is worth $5 a month, right? You know, I mean, that's all it is. And you get a lot of good shows, even if you just was a part-time subscriber just to watch some of the shows you like, right? And you cancel, part of the year, and you just sign back up when the new seasons come out or something interesting that comes out on Apple TV Plus. But Severance, yeah, really good show, right? And I think the credits really, really like this one too.
Cool.
So, yeah.
All right. I was asked by my significant other if we could go and watch the most recent Jurassic Park movie in the theater. At which point I said, yeah, I wouldn't mind going. I like Jurassic Park. I think they're all, we recently watched 1, 2, and 3. And then we watched World. So, but then I reminded her, I don't think we saw the second World one yet. And so we looked it up, and we were looking at the movies that we'd seen, and we looked up the trailer, and like, nope, we haven't seen this one yet. We have to watch this one before we watch the final one in the theater. So we made we just decided, okay, let's see if it's streaming anywhere. It wasn't streaming anywhere, which is really sad. So we're like, well, we can probably just rent it or buy it on one of those streaming services and watch it that way. Okay, fine. Well, we were at Walmart like we do every once in a while. And one of the things we almost always do when we go to Walmart is we go to those bins of DVD players that are for sale for super cheap. And we found the movie for sale for either $5 or $3, which was one of those 2 bins. It's like,
so you've answered one of the biggest questions that I've had. Every time I go to Walmart, I'm like, why the hell do they still have these? Nobody is still buying DVDs.
Yeah, I was about to make the same comment. I'm like, Matt, you still have a DVD player?
I take it home and I rip it onto my Plex server, so I always have it. And I always have it, and I can watch it anytime I want. So I have Jurassic Park, Fallen Kingdom, which is the second of the World movies, the Jurassic World movies, ripped onto my system. We watched it, and then we went and watched the movie in the theater of Jurassic Park Dominion, which is the third one, the most recent one. And it's a good thing we watched it, because there's a whole plot about a certain character that is gone into, and it's basically half of the movie is about that plot, about that character, explaining what's happened with that character, that we would have no idea what was going on if we had not seen it. So
that's good to know, because we didn't watch the Second World either, and I want to watch the new one. So that's good to know that I should watch the Second World before watching the latest one.
Did you enjoy the newest one?
The newest one was good. As usual, I mean, every single Jurassic Park is basically a callback to the original Jurassic Park, right? Every single one you watch, they do something that's like, oh yeah, here we go again. We're going to do this again. And also, I've heard people review the third Jurassic Park, how the third one is, the villain in the movie is a certain. It's a lot of people equate him to a certain CEO of a certain tech company that I will not. I will happily talk about it in the post show if you like, but I don't want to ruin anything in case anybody's interested in watching it. And
we already know.
You do? Oh, okay. You sure?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Well, I got it. Well, it's one of two, I'm sure.
Right. Well, if you watch the show, if you watch the show, also pay attention to the shape of the building that they work in, because that will help you as well. Anyways, yeah. Okay. But it was good. I liked it just fine. There were plenty of callbacks to the old original ones, the original things. And of course, almost all the original characters were back one way or another. They brought everybody back one way and introduced one or two new characters. Lord
Dern was back, right?
Yeah, I believe so. But they actually introduced one new character that you don't even realize he's a Meiji character till like halfway through the film. And it's like, actually like him. He's super smart. So I really enjoy it. So I liked it. I think I liked it a little bit better than the middle one, which was the middle one was a little weak compared to this one. It was fine, but it's just, I think this one was the better of the two. I think so out of the three worlds, one was the best, 3 was the second best, and 2 was the weakest. 2 was still fine. So enjoy them. They're all fine films. Yeah. Wait until the Jurassic Universe in the next 10 years. It'll happen to Jurassic Planet.
Yeah. My general theory is watch the first Jurassic movie for each iteration, and you'll be
happy.
Fine.
Yeah, that's true.
None of the others are as good as the first ones. I did enjoy Jurassic World. I have not seen the second one though, so I shouldn't really be speaking. But obviously, in the original trilogy, the first one was vastly superior to the other two.
Yeah, mostly the second one was fine. It just what they decided to do with it was a little weird. Just the movie just. I'm just going to say it. They decided to auction off dinosaurs. The auction was weird.
Yeah. The second one was okay, but the third one was pretty awful. But again,
I'm talking about a world.
A world.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Anyways,
all right.
Cool.
That was it. And with that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming and watching with us. Clyde, if you happen to watch this, we hope that you got your therapy through us somehow. And also, I hope you're having a good time on your Turtle Days trip. We hope to hear all about it next week. And come back here and to see and visit us again. We are live on YouTube at 7 p.m. Pacific, because that's where I'm at. You'll have to figure it out if you're somewhere else. And we will be back again next week. So see you, everybody.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.